Thank you so much for joining this session on site and online. And after the meetings, I will share this meeting materials, and I will be requesting to share the meeting records with the video, and they're showing this displays, and I will try to upload their movies as they're on their YouTube. So I would like to hopefully the content is interested for you. So I would like you to distribute. I suppose it is the part of the technology transfer systems for the it is mentioned in this DOTr project. Then first of all, what's right to confirm the outline of the technology and the project, and this is for you can turn on the box. Thank you so much. There are three outputs for this project. First one is the root plannings. Second one is the intermodal transfer facilities improvements. And the third one is the bus service improvements. So the following three aspects. So that we will conduct the preparations of the manuals and reviewing the existing plans and technology transfer sessions is introduced, and for some pilot projects for formulating the new plans and some pilot project for the intermodal facility developments and the operation improvements are separately but coordinately conducted. So the base through these projects, so we are intended to conduct the capacity development for the public transport improvements in Metro Manual. Excuse me. Okay, so the purpose of the trainings is to provide trainings and supplementary guidance for the route planning sections of LTO. PTRP manuals. Okay, and based on the last month's meetings, the contents of the capacity developments are discussed amongst the DOTr and other counterparts. And there are in total 1 to 8 programs is proposed to be implemented. And this one, today's session is the first one. And the topics is there are 2 topics. And the first one is importance of the data for the public transport plannings. And the second one is comparing the analysis method for the public transport routes. Then there is from my presentations having the 3 sessions in total. And I suppose by sessions I will take some break with 5 minutes. So the first section is the definition of the public transport route plannings. And it's for at least for the governmental units, like the DOTr. What's held by LTO? Yes. Public entities. Yes. But this page shows the principle for the public transport route plannings. There is the stakeholders, excluding the governmental units. There is relationships between the public transport operators and citizens, means the users of the public transport. And of course, there is a high demand section and low demand section. And there is other for the public transport operators, what's their public transport operator thinks and what the citizens thinks. So I would like you to ask what operator thinks.
The citizens commit because there's a demand for accessibility and for them to be able to transfer from one point to another.
As I write over, I can't keep the meeting time, so kind of. Don't because you don't touch the screen. Please wait a moment. So what's the event in there? Yeah. The next. Okay, so now I prepared some answers. Yes, yeah, and the public transport operators' priorities are fair value. Yes, and maybe someone thinks about they want to provide reliable service for citizens. Yes, this is because their public transport operations, meaning that the public transport operators need to support the citizens' daily life by providing the reliable service. However, need to say their first priority is their fair gain more revenue. And I never criticize about the public transport operators in Metro Manila, Philippines. So this is the Japanese operator is also same. And on the other hand, so the citizens, commuters, yes, as we say, so the accessible transport service is preferred. However, on the in parallel, punctuality, yes, can arrive 20 minutes for safe, secure, and comfortable, and reliable, and affordable transport service. Of course, you know. Yeah. So how then to make a balance is the duty for the DOTr and the public governmental bodies duty. Yes. So currently, so for example, the public transport operators operate only for the high demand section. And generally speaking, so the GPV is the lower capacity vehicles is over highly concentrated on the over sections, and the no operators operate for the low demand sections. And as a result, so the citizens living in the low demand sections need to rely on their motorcycle taxi or their own motorcycles. As a result, so the traffic volumes and in the suburban areas is gaining. So as a result, and the traffic congestions around in the cities will get worse. I need to speak more slowly. I think so. Yeah. So how the government into intervention and making some intervention is visualized in this page. Yes. And both then in these sections, yeah, there is so much vehicles in the high demand sections. It will cause there are serious traffic congestions, causing their unnecessary competitions among the operators. Try to reduce the traffic congestion caused by the GPs. So that's kind of try to control the number of vehicle stops, giving the priority for large and low emission vehicles. So through promoting the such kind of number controls, so the RDL law, the big public PUVs on the arterial roads are generally expected to be shifted from the smaller GPU vehicles to the large and clean energy vehicles. And of course, if there is no passenger demands among some sections, the governments need to promote to operate their minimum necessary public transport service. However, sometimes it is not financially feasible. So the government sometimes needs to prepare some subsidies to sustain their operations by the government. So in this matter, you know the QC bus responsibility for operating the free of charge public transport service. And this aid to support the citizens' daily life among the Quezon City. However, I reviewed the route alignment of the Quezon City buses. However, the Quezon City route seems to be high demand sections. So in that case, I don't suppose that they need to financially support by the government. So if this is such kind of lower demand, however, it needs to support by the government. So the such kind of political decision is also reasonable. So on the other hand, so if this section is needs to be supported by the government or not, shall be reviewed through the quantitative evaluation of decisions. And the third one, sometimes the restructure of the public transport routes. For example, the direct operations from here to there is not so financially feasible, so that they can propose their operating such kind of routes, connecting with the high demand sections, so that the passengers, citizens living there, making their public transport trips by riding such kind of small vehicles and transfer at these sections and going to these sections. So there are such kind of restructures of the routes from the directional networks to the hierarchical networks with arterial and feeder routes. Yes, and they providing some transfer facilities with the good, better environment. Also, one of the beauty of the government. Yes. Further, again, so the need to prepare, propose an example of the definition of the route plannings, at least by the government. Yes, sometimes someone may consider the route plannings is to specify each route alignment. Yes, this route operates from this point and this point, and this point. It is mainly this is the duty for the private operators because they are much sensitive for the demand because this is highly related to the fare revenue, much sensitive than the governmental side. So from my viewpoint, so the governmental body doesn't need to specify each public transport route alignment. On the other hand, then the duty of the public governmental side in terms of the route plannings is to specify the hierarchical structure of the public transport corridors and the maximum number of trips by the PUVs. Yes, of course, then the public transport, so the road-based PUVs occupying the road sections. So their capacity is up to the road capacity. So the maximum number of trips by road section. Section is highly related to the your duties, I suppose. And prepare the quality of service standards and permit the new or revise the new operations according to this balance between the demand and supply. And the last one is the more important, however, more difficult to promote the consolidation of the public transport operator to establish the internal subsidization. Then this figure shows the conceptual image for the internal subsidization. Currently, in the same section, multiple operators is operating, and they are trying to maximize their fair revenue. As a result, the competition can be removed. So this is in the short or mid term, the usability, convenience for the citizens are harassed. So if this section or if the public transport PUVs are operated by the same operator, such kind of the road sharings between the public transport vehicles and the drivers is established. From this results, the loss for the operating the suburban low demand area can be made up by the profit for the revenue operations. From these structures, the unnecessary competitions among the drivers and vehicles can't be expected. So such kind of this principle for the internal subsidization. Yeah. Not all the subsidization by the governments. So the subsidized internally is one of the principles for the sustainable public transport operations. So basic. Yes. And on this page is from this following some pages showing the case study of the public transport route restructures with the consolidation. And in Asian countries, specifically Seoul in South Korea and Japan. Yes. In this is so page showing the examples in Seoul. And in Seoul City, due to the competitions with private cars and expanding the metro systems, and many public transport operators went bankrupt or curtailed their service. Yes. And the number of operators has been decreased from 89 in 1995 to just 55 in 2002. So as a countermeasure, the government conducted the drastic reform of the bus service. It is called as the semi-public operation systems. And then this is some outstanding point is introducing the IC card for all public transport vehicles. So that the public transport operators doesn't need to touch the fare revenue. So the government centralized controlled by the government. And fare poolings means all fare revenue is first collected by the government and distributed according to the operating distance, not the fare revenue, not the ridership. So from these results, so the competition among the operators are removed. And second one is the drastic route restructure is implemented. This figure shows the number of routes and the number of registered persons by route category. And before the bus industrial reform is solved, and many buses operating for the trunk routes, so-called arterial routes, because and each public transport operator tries to maximize their fare revenue. So as a result, so the public transport is not efficiently operated in terms of the citizen life comfortabilities, convenience. Through the structure, that many routes is changed from the arterial roads to the feeder routes. I'm not sure the definition of the feeder routes. However, the most vehicles are assigned for the feeder routes for the cities. From these routes, yes, the competitions among the operators is reduced. And the routes, and each route is numbered by the 4-digit numberings. And the blue line, main bus is 3-digit, and the green branch feeder bus is numbered by 4 digits. And the regional branch lines is also for 4 digits, and the other routes is for 2 digits. Through such kind of simple classifications, so the route numbering is also contributed for the citizens' the accessibilities for the citizens in terms of the information provision. So through the such kind of the drastic reforms, yes, the public leadership is have been increased, and but this programs is supported by the huge budget for the subsidizations in some cases. So but so that you need to understand that this is the backgrounds of these measures. And this is relatively recent cases. So from the next pages, I need to explain about the history in Japan. Yes. So there is a little bit maniac, and there is no English documents. So I would like you to share the experiences in Japan before World War II. Yeah. And this is the Japanese custom. So the public transport is same as Metro Manila today. Yeah. There were many individual operators in Japan. However, in 1938, year before World War II, yeah, and due to the World War II, due to the war, and the procuring the fuel and the parts had become difficult. So the situations in today is a little bit similar. Yes, 100 years before in Japan. Yes, so then the government executes the Land Transport Business Adjustment Act. This is to consolidate the transport operators to improve management by reducing the excessive competition. Yes, but as a result, then the drastic consolidation from the 1,160 operators to 154 operators. I need to say the number of operators before this act is much less than today's figure in Metro Manila. Yeah. There is much more difficulty in your city. However, through this act under the World War II, so such kind of drastic consolidation is implemented. And however, even after the World War II, the consolidations promoted by the law is the basis of the Japanese public transport route network. And this one, in this stage, I would like to introduce the case studies in Tokyo. Yes, in Tokyo, under this act, the Tokyo area is divided by the 5 blocks. First one is the central block, and the other four blocks is divided by the river or national railway. Then the central blocks in the red color showing them in this color is the managed by the public operators, and other four blocks are managed by the dominant railway operators. Then this figure showing the big line showing the railway and smaller line showing the public bus routes. So from this figure, then the bus is operated by the railway operator. So the so-called what I introduced in the previous pages, internal subsidization. Yes. So the major fare revenue is from the railway and their real estate development revenues. And the public transport, bus transport itself is not so financially visible. However, this operation expenses, it can be made up by the railway sectors fare revenue. Through such kind of internal structure of the internal subsidization, so there is the basis of the public transport network in Tokyo area. Then this starts, yes, and after World War II, the fuel and the equipment supply were running low. And however, after the World War II, there are many soldiers coming back to Japan, so the passenger demand was increased. And from this result, the military fleets were utilized for the public transport. Actually, such kind of history is also similar in your countries. Yeah, Djibouti is also originally from the United States militaries. However, anyways, a diesel-powered trailer bus was also locally developed. This one is also green characteristics in Japan. Yes, compared with your countries. Yeah, as of 1915. Yeah, so this bus is jointly connected. So there nearly 50 to 50 passengers can be carried by the one operator. So it can be observed that the Japanese bus operators were eager to increase their passenger capacity operated by the one driver, so one vehicles. Then through the instructions by the GHQ in United States, then the Road Transport Act was executed in 1951. So under this regulations, the entry regulations by licensing system was introduced. From this result, so the new operators can't enter to the public transport markets effectively. And the second one is also important. The subsidy scheme for the local community route was introduced as of 1950 years before. And the third one is much more interesting. And scheduled operation was introduced. Yes, this is the actual timetables as of 1953. Yes. And this is also surprising issue. And in more than 70 years before, yes, such kind of timetables, what time the public transport vehicles depart at this section is specified. Why such kind of timetable was introduced is to increase the riderships, to maximize the number of passengers carried by one vehicles or one driver. So sometimes everyone says so such kind of timetables is to provide the good, punctual, or reliable public transport service for citizens. However, their first motivations for Japanese bus operators is to get more fair revenue. Yes. So in this country also, so the same approach, yes, introducing timetables can expect much more ridership. That kind of discussions is also necessary to promote the public transport operator. Then underneath the state, this is one of the histories. In the 2002, 20 years before, the drastic deregulation was introduced. And the Road Transport Act was amended, and the first one is shifting from the licensing system to permission systems. From the results, so unless the previous error, then the new operators can join to the market much more freely than before. However, and you know that in 2002 in Japan, yes, due to the rapid modernization, public transport industry has been shrinking. This figure shows the number of ridership, by public bus transports. And the blue one is the Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya metropolitan area. And the red one shows other area. So from these figures, since the 1970s, the public transport ridership has been decreased rapidly. Yes, due to such kind of modernizations, yes. Then the public transport market is not so attractive, and the deregulations haven't contributed to activate the public transport market, as the government expected. On the other hand, due to the deregulations by the government, there are huge conflicts between operators can be seen. And this is the case studies in the Okayama cities near my hometown. And there is just a very small cities with 1.6 million metropolitan population. And there are major 5 operators were separately operated. But in 2017, the taxi operator proposed a new routes operating the tier 2 visit Okayama stations. And however, this section is already operated by the one of the major operators. Yes, so by introducing such kind of new buses, so this existing routes will check the ridership of the existing routes are expected to be decreased. So the existing operators claimed that the existing operator, the financial business is supported by the big groups. However, if the government allows such kind of public transport route by other operators, so the internal subsidization, yes, which I mentioned, is not established. So the public existing operators are claiming and make complaints and suggesting they are suggesting the phasing out for other unprofitable routes. Otherwise, the government is having the very hardships to sustain their citizens' life.
Here are taxi anywhere, ride anywhere, go anywhere. In Japan, nowadays, not everything's not some taxi.
Even usually everywhere. And this case, taxi operator join the public transport of business to the regulation.
They became an owner of a bus.
Yes. Yes. So there are the disputes and the coordination between the groups and the involved other bus operators. And there are two resolve such kind of conflicts. And the public transport operators require some considerable efforts. And as a result, in 2024, the regional public transport plan was certified by the ministry. So these new routes terminated the operations. And so finally, the conflict between the operators has dissolved. However, the existing and the new operators are taking time and taking the financial resource and for the such kind of unnecessary competitions. Yes. So it is our lessons done in Japan is lack of the coordination by the government causes the confusions between government operators and the citizens. So this example is showing the such kind of the deregulations causing the unnecessary competition among the operators. Yes, and in the recent weeks, yes, and in 2020, and the new act is executed and for the exception from the Anti-Monopoly Act. Yes. And this is under this act, the joint operations by the multiple operators is established. Yes, and this is the case study in Kumamoto cities. Yes, and this is one of the sites of the Japanese study tour in this June. Yes, then the Kumamoto city is a 1.5 million metropolitan area, and one of the characteristics of this city is the highest ownership of private cars. As a result, and surprising fact, there are 5 major public transport operators in this city. However, all of them went bankrupt. Yeah. Due to the rapid modernizations and the failure of diversified management. And third one is the unnecessary competition among operators. Yes, this is the future in your cities. So I would like you to suppose. So much more drastic competition shall be promoted, I suppose. So previously, due to the Anti-Monopoly Act in Japan, then the discussion by the multiple operators on the route structure, operating hour and their policy had been prohibited. So through this execution of the exception from the act, then such kind of discussion is legal. So currently the following this series connection with operator public transport route, which is operated by each operator, jointly operated, so that they share the operating schedules and the routes and the bus stop informations. So this joint operations, so the public transport operations are expected to be implemented more effectively or efficiently. Yes, and this page is the last page for the first sections. Yeah. Then I would like you to making the posting providing the 3 points. First one, do the brandings at least for the government. Does not necessarily mean specifying each route alignment. Just defining the arterial secondary feeder corridors and the adjusting the supply and demand could be considered as a route brandings. And second one, the current status in Philippines can be recognized similar with previous Japan without any intervention for the consolidation of the operators. So recently, some energy saving measure had to be implemented by the central government. This situation is very similar with the Japan, World War II and after World War II. Amid some ongoing conflict in the Middle East. However, this energy saving measure might be the trigger to promote more aggressive consolidations by the operators. I a little bit expected. Yes. But that's all for the first section. So I would like to give any questions or comment from from your side.